So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Cornelia Murphy House, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself first. I joined the Army back in August of 1991, and when I joined, I was a 74 Bravo, which back then a 74 Bravo, I'm sorry, we was a 74 Delta. And after joining the 74 Delta, I went to Germany. I had a job title, did some things there, left there, went on to Virginia. Virginia, I got a new job title. I was then a 74 Bravo. Left there, did a couple of more duty stations, and by the time I retired, I was a 25 Bravo. So the transition was real. And as a lot of you probably have been through also, moving from one duty station to the next, you're constantly changing jobs. And now a lot of you are embarking upon the civilian sector, and it'll be just another transition. So I wanted to start off by showing you a video that I made to give you a little bit more of an idea of exactly what I'll be going over today.
You know, leaving the military is one of the biggest shifts a person can possibly go through. It's this whole journey of finding a new mission, a new rhythm, really a new identity. But what if the key to navigating this incredibly human challenge wasn't just human? What if there's an unexpected ally that's starting to emerge? Today, we're going to dig into the pretty surprising role that artificial intelligence is playing in helping veterans find their way forward. And it all really boils down to this one question. This sits right at the heart of the entire transition. It's so much more than just finding a job. It's about figuring out who you are in a completely new world. And that right there, that's the fundamental challenge we're going to explore. Okay, so let's dive in. To really get the solution, you first have to understand just how deep the problem goes. I mean, what really happens when that whole structure, that whole sense of mission from military life just disappears? And man, it is a seismic shift. You go from a world where your mission is crystal clear, you've got a battle rhythm that tells you what to do every single day, to a world that can feel totally empty and unstructured. That incredible camaraderie, your unit, your team, it's gone. And the identity that came with your rank, your job, it vanishes. We're talking about having to rebuild the absolute pillars of your life completely from scratch. So, keeping that huge personal challenge in mind, let's get practical for a second. Let's tackle the first and honestly the most frustrating hurdle for so many, the job hunt. Because before you can rebuild a life, you need some stability, and that almost always kicks off with finding a good job. And here it is. This is the main point of friction. A veteran can have, say, a decade of amazing leadership, incredible technical skills, experience managing millions of dollars in equipment. But if they can't say that in a way a civilian hiring manager gets, it's like it never even happened. This translation problem can stop even the most qualified veteran dead in their tracks. This slide just illustrates that gap perfectly. I mean, look, on the left, you've got standard military jargon. It's accurate, sure, but it's talking about a platoon tactical operations center. A recruiter has no idea what that is. Now look at the right. That exact same experience is translated into the language of impact, managed a 4.5 M plus technology portfolio. The experience is identical. The way it's communicated, worlds apart. So the big question is, how do you bridge that gap and do it fast and effectively? Well, the answer is kind of wild. It lies in a new generation of powerful and a lot of times totally free AI tools that are basically built to be your personal translator and career coach. Okay, so let's break down this toolkit. Don't think of this as cheating. Think of these as your new personal assistants. You got tools like ChatGPT and Claude. They are absolute masters at taking that military jargon and spinning it into gold, into polished corporate ready resume points. Then there's Copilot, which can draft entire resumes and cover letters for you. Perplexity is like your personal research librarian. It'll help you find realistic salary info and actually cited sources. And Google's interview warm-up, it lets you practice your answers over and over until you feel totally confident. All right, so that's the toolkit. The theory is cool, but now let's actually put it to work. We're going to look at three pretty common career paths for vets and just watch how AI can completely transform a resume in a matter of seconds. Now, what's so incredible here is the transformation itself. The before is just a statement of your duty. It's what you did. But the after, that's a statement of your impact. The AI is smart enough to pull out the key numbers, 500 users, 99.9% uptime, and it reframes your duty as a clear win for the business. That is what gets you the interview. And here we go again. This time for project management. The AI actually knows that overseeing an exercise is just civilian speak for leading a project. And it prompts you to add those critical details, the timeline, how many people, and that killer metric of coming in 10% under budget. Wow. And one more for logistics. See how managing supplies instantly becomes directing supply chain operations? The AI helps you quantify what you achieved, improving inventory accuracy by 25%. This is the language modern business runs on. And these tools can make a veteran fluent like overnight. Okay, so these tools are clearly an absolute game changer for landing a job, no question. But let's rewind a bit. We started this whole conversation by asking a much deeper question, right? A question about identity. Can this same technology actually help with those bigger, more human parts of the transition? And the answer, as so many veterans will tell you, is often no. A paycheck is great, it gives you stability, but it doesn't automatically give you purpose. It doesn't give you that structure back or that renewed sense of who you are. And this is where this whole AI ally idea gets really interesting. We can use the exact same logic. Think about it. Instead of translating your military duties into resume bullets, you can use AI to translate your life goals, vague things like get healthy or be a better parent, into clear, actionable missions with daily tasks. You can use it to build a new battle rhythm, a weekly schedule that brings back that feeling of structure. And with guided questions, it can act like a partner for reflection, helping you work through that really tough question. So, who am I now? So, the mission changes. It shifts from the flight line or the battlefield to the civilian world. And look, while nothing is ever going to replace human connection, AI is showing up as this powerful, personalized first step in that journey. It's an ally that helps you translate way more than just a resume. It helps you start to rebuild a life.
Perfect. So as you can see, AI is a tool that is going to help us with our transition. Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. AI is a tool that's going to help us with our transition. So let's get right into this. A lot of us are looking at changing our job fields, and we're moving from that military to the civilian. And in doing so, the AI tools are going to help you to not only translate it, but it's going to help you to target your new roles. And then it's going to build that resume for you and get you ready for that next job. So let's look at this. When it comes to AI, there are some things that you need to understand. AI has many capabilities, but it also has limitations that only the human is able to take care of. For instance, it can definitely take your military NCOERs and OERs, and you can take them, input them into the system, and it can convert it into corporate syntax. It's fast, it's easy, it can get it done in seconds. You can even use AI now to ask you questions like it's an interviewer and give you a mock interview. But what are the limitations? Some of the limitations is that AI will hallucinate. And I'll show you later on what it means when I say it hallucinates, because it creates sometimes convincing fiction, but not truthful about you. So it's always important to use your own judgment and make sure that what AI is saying about you is not only accurate, but is truthful. And the third thing that AI cannot do, it can help you to create the resume, it can help you to get the interview, but it cannot help you with the network. It's not going to walk into the office and shake that interviewer's hand and create that connection. Only you can do that. So let's look at some things that you should never do when it comes to AI. So I come from a cybersecurity background, and so I'm always mindful of what it is I am putting into my AI tools. I use ChatGPT a lot. That's one of my favorites. But even with ChatGPT, I know that I need to be cognizant of what I am inputting. So never put anything in there that is considered personal identifiable information, not your social security numbers, not your date of birth, home addresses, never put any classified documents or any medical information in there. So for me, the golden rule is if you wouldn't put it on a highway billboard, then don't put it in this chat box. Now, the safe things that you can put in there is things like I led a team of 40 versus saying a specific platoon. Some of the jobs that some of us have held, you cannot put that out there for the public. So just make sure when you're using AI tools that you're cognizant of what you're inputting and you never put anything out there that is sensitive, okay? All right, now, when you use AI, you should always give it a role. And what I mean by give it a role is, like you can see some of the titles that I have here. Maybe it's going to act as your writer. Maybe you wanted to act as your researcher, or maybe you needed to organize some things for you. So whenever you're inputting your information into AI so that it understands exactly what it is that you needed to do, make sure that you give it a role. Now, this is an example of what I mean by giving it a role. So a lot of us are going to be using our NCOERs or OERs when we're trying to apply for a new job. So just like you see here on my screen, you see that I have an NCOER, but I made sure that all my PII are redacted. You can't see my social security number. You can't see my home address. Anything, again, that you don't want the public to know, you are going to make sure it is redacted. Now, once you redact that information, then you're able to input it, and then it'll give you what you want, your focus, your civilian competency of what you're asking it to do. In everything that you do when it comes to AI, you're going to learn to use prompts. So for this particular example, the prompt that I would use, because I'm redoing my resume, I would tell it to act as an expert resume writer. Translate this redacted military bullet into a corporate, and for the role that you're looking for on your civilian side, that's what you would put in here, achievement. And to focus on the problem, the action, and the result. Remove any military jargon. That's just one prompt that you could use in order to rewrite your resume. Now, this is just some bullets of showing you what it may look like before and what it may look like after. Manage network security for battalion talk, military jargon. Now, that it's been translated, it may say something like directed enterprise-grade network security protocols for 500 plus users, achieving 99.9% uptime and 0 data breaches. Now, do you remember earlier when I told you that sometimes AI hallucinates? The little 500 plus that you see in gold is an example of the hallucination. If you look at the before, I only told it that I managed network security for a battalion talk. I never said how many people. So sometimes AI tries to help you a little bit. And so what it'll do is it'll throw in a couple of numbers to make it look good. So this is where the human element comes in. If you know that there were not 500 plus users, change it to the correct number of users. Don't allow AI to just create information that is not true. So that is what hallucinating is when it comes to AI. Make sure that the information that it creates is accurate and truthful. Let's look at another one. If you're a project manager before, you may have said plan training exercise for 150 soldiers. Afterwards, you may get executed a 2 million multi-stakeholder training program coordinating cross-functional teams to meet strict federal compliance standards. Again, that 2 million, I never told it an amount, but because again, AI wants to be as helpful as possible, it adds it in there. So just ensure that the numbers match what actually is true. And then my last example, responsible for vehicle fleet maintenance. Again, over here, AI changed it, optimized fleet maintenance operations for 40 plus heavy assets, reducing downtime by It knows that percentages and numbers are important, so it added it. So now you just go in and you correct it and you put the actual numbers that make this accurate. Now, here we're talking about targeting the problem and finding a solution. So here again, prompting. Prompting is always going to be what you use. And the better you get at prompting your AI and explaining to it what you're trying to do, the better results you will get. So here, I told it to analyze the attached job description for a project manager, compare it against my attached resume, and then to list the top 5 keywords or skills that I possess but fail to emphasize. Rewrite my professional summary to align with these keywords. So you see, the more you're giving AI, the more information you're giving it, the better results that you're going to get. But just again, remember, make sure that the results are accurate. Now, let's talk a little bit about job searching. One place that I have found that, and I researched this because I wanted to get some accurate numbers, is LinkedIn. So when it comes to LinkedIn, this is what I found from my research. 7 people are hired every minute on LinkedIn, resulting in over 3 million new hires annually. 75% of the people who recently changed jobs used LinkedIn to find those new job opportunities. 72% of recruiters use LinkedIn when hiring new talent. 122 million people received an interview through LinkedIn, with 35.5 million having been hired by a person that they connected with through LinkedIn. So as you can see, LinkedIn can be a very, very powerful tool when it comes to job searching. Now on LinkedIn, there's a specific formula because LinkedIn uses algorithms. So when you are doing your LinkedIn, the headline is very important. And that's why I specifically brought out just the headline. You want to make sure to put your target role, your core skills and specializations, and then a value proposition. So don't use something like transitioning service member looking for this. Use something more like, as a cyber, I would put SOC analyst, network security and threat intelligence, CompTIA Security Plus certified, because a lot of teams and a lot of different recruiters are going to be looking for people with specializations. So you're putting that information right up front so they stop. If you were a program manager, you might say program manager, agile and risk management, delivering complex projects on time. Or maybe if you did logistics, you may say supply chain operations manager, inventory control and fleet logistics, 6 Sigma Green Belt. So LinkedIn can be a very, very powerful tool when you are doing your job searching. Now, the About section of LinkedIn, again, this is what we call the hook, the bridge in your call to action. So in your About section, you can use AI and tell it to write a LinkedIn About section for whatever that role is, again, based on your resume, and make the tone professional, confident, forward-looking, and keep it under 150 words. Always pay attention. Don't make it too lengthy because you want the recruiter to actually stop and read it. So you want to keep it where that it's under a certain amount of words. And for this example, it tells us to keep it under about 150. So as long as you do that, you'll get more reviews and you may just get that job that you're actually looking for. Now, finding your fit. So you can also use AI to figure out, well, what is it that I want to do? Maybe you haven't figured out what your next role is. So you can tell it what your old jobs were, infantry, NCO, and then it can tell you how to translate those into new jobs. So a prompt that you are able to use to do that is based on my resume. List 10 civilian job titles that align with my skills in infantry NCO. You was an operations supervisor, you was a site manager, you was a training coordinator, and then prioritize those roles in whatever industry you are now looking for and include average salary ranges. So you can use AI for more than just writing that resume. You can even use it to help you find the new job or the new role that you're thinking of moving into. Now let's talk about pay and negotiations. Now, I don't know about you, but when I left the military in 2011, I was an E7, and our pay is audit. You know what your pay is. You can look it up online. It tells you exactly. Everybody's making the same thing. So when I got out of the military, I didn't really know what I was worth. I didn't know my value. So when I saw that first job and it gave me $10,000 more than what I was making, I thought I was really, I'm like, woo, this is a lot of money. I'm loving this. But then later I found out, wow, you only got 10,000 more? Oh no, I got 30. Oh, I got 50. And then I was like, wow. So one thing that AI can do is it can help you to be able to know your own value. And again, you can use a prompt to do that. Ask it, what is the market salary range for the role in the city and state that you are in with however many years? For me, I had 20, so I would have put 20 years experience and provide data from 3 reputable sources. If I would have had this, I would have been making that 30,000 more too, instead of just that 10. So make sure that you're using AI to help you, not just with that resume, but with knowing how much you should be asking for and at least giving you an idea of where you should start at. You can also have it based on the market research for the region that you're in and the experience managing however many people and looking for a base salary. You can tell it, this is the salary I'm looking for, and then it'll go out and show you the companies that are paying that salary range. Now, this one, you can also use AI for interviewing you. So if you need someone to ask you questions, give it a prompt. Say, hey, I'm interviewing for this role. Ask me one behavioral interview question, wait for my answer, then grade me and have it to ask you more. So now you have an actual person, well, AI person, that's helping you to study and prepare for this new role so that now you can build that confidence that you need. And when you walk into that interview, you can breathe. So you see, AI can help you in many ways. Now, at this point, I was going to do a open chat and I was going to show you some examples. But what I think I'd rather do now is I'm going to allow you to ask me some questions. Okay. So if anyone has any questions, you can put them in the chat or you can come off and you can ask me. Yes, Alfred?
Hello, Cornelia.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for helping us today. So my question is, it's been told to me by, I believe, one recruiter that I spoke with and said that some companies are doing this thing to where if you turn in a resume that is completely copied and pasted by AI, they'll put you in like the bad category and like you'll be it's like basically like a pool. I want to know your um
So there is a tool that a lot of companies use. It's called application tracking system. And what they're referring to is some people, like I just told you, when you go in there and you use Chat GPT, they never go back and check it. They use the tool, and so it hallucinates and it puts in all of this stuff. Well, it leaves markers on there that you're using Chat GPT or Claude or Perplexity or whatever AI tool you're using. Now, if you go and you take the information that you got from chat and you put it in Grammarly or you put it in zero Chat GPT, it can remove all of those markers. And then you go in and you're replacing it with actual true numbers. Now it's no longer generated by chat. You used it to assist you, but you didn't use it to do the whole resume. And that's what some people are doing. They're just putting it in there and then just copying and pasting. They're not taking the time to really go through, because it's gonna hallucinate sometimes and put things out there that ain't true. Like how you saw on the slide, it put numbers out there that weren't true. So now that recruiter's like, oh, you did, if he does get to you, you did 12 million. Oh, well, no, I didn't, but your resume said that. So you have to make sure that you check everything it says, and to erase the Chat GPT little mega marks that it's leaving, you can use a tool called Zero Chat GPT, or you can use something like Grammarly, and then Grammarly rechecks it. And remember, when you put things in Grammarly, you're going back and you're adding your stuff. So now that's your own. It is no longer considered done by chat. So that's one way that I found that you can fix that, is putting it, if you get in Grammarly, that's free. So you can use Grammarly. Because I try to give people tools that you don't have to pay for. I mean, I'm looking for a job, so I ain't got a lot of money to be spending on all these tools. Chat GPT you can use that free. So they have the free chat GPT you can use, and it will help you. And then you take what you get from that and you maybe put it in Grammarly, or you go back in and you reformat it and make sure that it's you putting in your actual words, and you're making sure that everything in it is accurate and true. And then you can upload that resume.
Well, thank you so much for
Definitely
your
never
wisdom.
just take what it gives you and go with it, or you you may find some problems there. So yeah, absolutely. So that is called applicant tracking system. That's what they're and they're doing it because sometimes you got 3 recruiters, but you may have 3,000 resumes that were put in, and they just don't have time to do it. So for sometimes just to do a first look, they'll put it through there, and if it sounds too good to be true, so definitely some of the companies are doing it. But I did read that it said that although the companies are using it, that they're not supposed to use it in order to disqualify anybody. But I can't say if that's true or not. I can only tell you what it told me, but they're not supposed to use it to disqualify you. They're only supposed to use it to, pick the best candidates or whatever, or, just to do that first look. So but definitely look at Grammarly, and look at maybe something like Zero Chat GPT or something like that can remove those marks that they're talking about, that they know that you've used an AI and, you haven't even tried to, go in and make it your own.
Well, thank you so much for your wisdom.
You're quite welcome. You're quite welcome. And I created some giveaways for you. I'm going to put that in the chat for you so you can use that. Okay. Minimize that for you. And I'm going to put these chats. So these giveaways will help you with, make sure it can go right in here for you. So one of them is, it has different prompts in it that you can use to help you create when you go into the Chat GPT, to show you how to create prompts and everything. And then the other one just explains to you the tools, because there are so many different tools out there. I wanted to give you an example of the type of tools that you can use. So I talked about Chat GPT, Claude, Perplexity, just some of the basic tools that you can use for free. Because again, I want you to try to use the tools that are free so that they can help you get started on your journey. So if you could, make sure and let me know if you're able to download those tools and that you can get them, because I want to make sure that you get those. Yeah. Mm. There we go. So those are just some tools to help you get started. Does anybody else have any questions? Great, great. Absolutely, Alfred. Thank you, Alfred. Thank you, thank you. Okay. So yeah, so just remember, and in closing, just remember, if you're going to use any AI tools, to just make sure that you check your work. Because again, AI hallucinates and it's trying its best to help you, but sometimes the things that it may create are not accurate and they're not truthful. And you want to make sure that when you're representing yourself, everything is truthful and everything is accurate. And I hope that this is helping. Perfect. Good, good. Everybody's getting it. Okay. Let's see. Do I have another I can show you? Absolutely. Just remember, and just please remember, when you're dealing with Chat GPT or any AI, just do not put any of your private information in there. Your social security numbers, any of that stuff. And if you're going to use it, there's a back end in all of the tools, multi-factor authentication, and you can go into the security settings and you can turn that on. And that way it'll help safeguard everything that you have in there, because that is so important. So just make sure that you're safeguarding all of your material and anything that you have in there. There's also a place inside of the security settings that say you can use this to improve our model. Turn that off, because when you're improving their model, that means everything that you're putting in there, you're sharing it with the world. So if you're working on a special project, or maybe you're creating a new app or something, you don't want all of your information shared with everybody else. So make sure that you turn off, improve this for everybody, and you also turn on your multi-factor authentication. And that will help to safeguard your information that's inside of the AI tools. Does anyone else have any questions? Is anybody already using AI tools right now in when they're creating their resumes, or they're using it at work, or anything? Yes. Which AI tools are you using right now? Which ones are your favorites or your go-tos right now? Chat GPT, okay. Google, okay, Google Gemini. Has anyone used Notebook LM? Okay, so no. Okay, so I'm going to show you something with the Notebook LM. So this is Notebook LM. Notebook LM is absolutely one of my favorites. Now, not my chat, but this one. This is absolutely one of my favorites. I love Notebook LM. And I'm going to show you why I love Notebook LM. So here in Notebook LM, I told you some of the tools that we use, you can use it like it's an interviewer, right? So Notebook LM has this thing here, and it's called Audio Overview. And what Audio Overview does is it's like it like creates a podcast. And in creating the podcast, what it does is it has several people that will come on and they're talking to you. And do you know that you can even go right out here and you can have it to tell you, ask it questions like you're doing an interview. So I'm going to show you what I mean. Are you able to see my screen? Yes. Okay, perfect. So right now, you see right here is generating an audio overview. And it's going to generate. So since I've been talking to it about veteran transition and mid-mission career and things like that, it's going to create an audio overview of that. So it's in the background creating this. And it normally takes a few minutes, so it's creating this right now. So once it creates it, you're going to see that it's going to be just like you're sitting here and actually talking to somebody about military transition. So I'm going to let it finish, and then I'm gonna let it show you what all it does. But while it's doing that, with Notebook LM, you know, it used to be you had to do a briefing. You'd be there for maybe a couple of days, sometime a week, just trying to create stuff. Now they've created this Notebook LM, which is part of Google. So if you go into your Gmail or your Google here on the side, you will see all of your accounts. If you scroll down to the very bottom, you will see Notebook LM. So it's a free, I'm always trying to tell you about free tools. So it is a free tool that you can use within Google. So on this free tool, I wanted it to create me an infographic. So let me show you what an infographic looks like. Look at that. Now, how long would that have taken us if we wanted to sit there and do this by hand to do this? And I just put in those few words from what I did earlier, and it created this for me. Look at that. The military to civilian translator, the career and salary explorer, the interview and network, and everything that I was talking about. Tells you about the daily rhythm, the goal to mission. You see, and look at how beautiful it is. Isn't that beautiful? That work smart. There you go. Work smart, not hard. So I love Notebook LM. So that's just one thing it does. It can help you create reports. So you can click it and tell it, I want a report, and it'll go and you can tell it what kind of report. If so, for students, you know, let's say that you have a big test or something, and you have all of this stuff that you know you want to study, you can put it in here and tell it to create you a study guide. And based off of what you upload, it'll create a study guide for you. You can tell it to create a quiz. Earlier, I told it, hey, I wanted a quiz for it to create a quiz for me. And you see here how on the side it creates whatever you're telling it to do. So I told it I wanted it to create me a quiz. So it went out and it created a quiz for me. I told it to create a mind map. and it went out and it did a mind map for me. So just about anything that you wanted to do, it can do it. Flashcards. Look at this. What is the primary goal of the AI enhanced military transaction system? So my session that I did today, what was the primary goal for it? It's just simply amazing. What is the specified slide rule for the military transition? Minimal text, strong speaker notes. I mean, you can create all kinds. The guardrails. What is one thing about the guardrails? PII, no social security numbers, no D. So you see how AI can actually help you to work smarter. So even for some of our kids with parental guidance, it can help to create study guides, quizzes. I mean, when I say this thing, it creates just all types of things. It creates all types of things. So you can do a data table. We did the flashcards. I got the audio overview going. It does the video overview, the quiz, the mind map. I mean, you can reports. You can create all slide decks. You can create all types of things with this notebook out now. And mine, so this one is the mind map. So look at that. Remember when we used to have to do now it does it for you. It tells you, and you click it and it opens, it tells you in the readiness stack, this is what's there. And the AI tool stack, this is what's there. So do you see how helpful the prompts, it tells you, I mean, you can create so many things with this new AI tool. I absolutely love it. Look at that. And then you go right back to the other stuff you're in. It has everything. And then you go right back to your studio. So that was the mind map, the slides, the video, the infographic. This one is the flashcards. You can create just so much stuff with AI. But again, it's all about using it responsibly and using it, making sure that the information that it gives you is not going to do all the work for you, but it will assist you in doing the work. And then all you have to do is make sure that what it is telling you and what it is saying is accurate. And, talk to it. The more that it knows about you, the more that it can talk like you. And that's what you want to do. You want to train your AI to talk the way you talk, so use it, but just use it responsibly. This is taking a little bit longer than I wanted to, probably because I'm doing it this way, but you go into Notebook LM, throw a document or something that you've done in there and then just play with it. Hit every last one of these and just play with it and get it so you can see the power that you have right there in your hands for free. Keyword, for free. So again, this is just some of the different things. This one was another one that I had did that I was working on. The Veteran Transition Blueprint. And look at the graphics. Look at how beautiful that is. Just the graphics itself are gorgeous. And this is something that I know me a long time ago doing this, it would have took me all day putting this there, putting that there. But look there, in just a matter of seconds, minutes, you can create all these graphics. So it absolutely can help you with your job. But you just got to make sure that it creates the correct information and that it's not hallucinating and it's putting facts in there and not just creating, something to sound good. But it absolutely, you can see can make your work and your job so much easier. Okay, does anybody have any questions about this? I really wanted you to see the audio overview. That one is really fun for me because, like I said, the people are talking in the background, and then they're creating a podcast almost. And the beautiful thing about the podcast is, as they're talking, there's a button and you can hit join, and you hit join, and then you're now in the podcast with them, and you can ask questions right there on the fly, and they will stop and answer the questions for you right there during that time that you're in the audio. So they're so much fun. And like I said, you can tell it, I want you to be the interviewer for this job at Boeing that I'm applying for. This is the job that I'm applying for. Act as if you are the recruiter asking the questions, and take me through a guided interview. And boom, just like that, you're in the interview. They're asking you the questions. You're actually responding with your real response. And then after it's over, you can tell them, well, give me some feedback on how I did. And it'll actually tell you how you did in your feedback. So these tools that are out here, use them, but just use them responsibly. I hope that helped someone, and I hope I gave you a little bit more insight on how AI tools are working and how to use them, properly, and just to make sure that your security protocols are in place. So just make sure that your PII, you're not putting your PII out there. Make sure that you lock it down, the security, by putting on multi-factor authentication, and make sure that you uncheck that little box that says improve the model for everyone. Because again, you don't want all of your information out there for everyone to see. And when you do that, it uses your information to train the model. So that means it's putting your information out there. So I hope that helped someone. And I hope that gave you a better idea of all of the different ways that you can use AI now to help write your resume, to help you look for your job, to help you to, create study guides, to interview yourself. So is there any questions about anything that I went over today? Good, good. So I hope you have enjoyed this. And I really hope that this will help you in your job search, in your transition. Alfred, are you transitioning from the military now?
Yeah, no. So I've been out for a little bit, and I got a little salt on me.
Okay. So are you thinking about coming into the AI world?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Uh-huh.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I let the world talk and I listen. Yeah. So I'm
Okay.
definitely growing. I work in marketing currently.
Okay.
But man, that has phenomenally whew, that has improved my
Okay.
output. Yeah. So I'm definitely using AI and starting to incorporate it more with some of my clients that I work with.
Okay. Great. Okay, that's good. Okay, that made me smile. That made me feel good. All right. Perfect.
You made you feel good. You made me feel good. All this wisdom you poured out into us. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. Look, I love AI. I'm forever playing with new tools. I told you I'm gonna go broke buying tools. So I love AI. But when it comes to the military and my veterans, I know that hey, we normally got limited funding, and we don't have a whole lot of money to spend. So that's why I always try to find things that are economical or free. And just to start off, hopefully that list helps you, because all of those on that list are free. And you can see with Notebook LM, it's so much you can do with that. So hopefully that helps you and that helps everybody else. I love it. I absolutely love it. And everything, the biggest thing I would say that I would want you to take away is prompting. If you learn how to prompt, you can get anything done that you want. The key is making sure you give it a role, because you don't go to, the veterinarian to get a tooth pulled. You go to the dentist. So you got to make sure to tell it, you are a orthodontist or you are a dentist and do this and that. So make sure that you always tell it what you want it to act as before you give it something to do. You're writing a book, tell it you're a world-class author, you're a huge publishing company. You can even give it a publishing company's name and tell it you are this publishing company. Based on my book, give me your feedback on where my book stands. What do I need to do to make it a world-class, first time, bestseller? And it would tell you just that. So definitely the prompting is what you need. So Stephanie, the prompt that I showed for the resume, I use ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is one of my favorites, but again, like I say, you see how it hallucinates. So you just got to make sure that when you prompt it and it gives you an output, that you read it. And let's say that it gives you an output and that output is not correct, or you like, okay, that's close, but that's not what I asked you. Make sure you tell it that. And you can physically, in ChatGPT, it has a button at the bottom, and instead of typing, you can just hit the dictate button. It's a little microphone, and you can talk to ChatGPT and tell it, well, that was a good answer, but that's not really what I was looking for. This is what I was talking about, and it'll rewrite it. It'll revise it. And the more you talk to it, and the more that it understands you and how you speak, the better the results will be. So for those prompts, I use ChatGPT. You're quite welcome. Quite welcome. Yes. Check the chat. Okay. All right, great. And everybody got this? Okay, good. Everybody got the PDFs that I put in there? Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, thank you. Is there any more questions? We got about 5 minutes left. I sure can. Let me put it in there now. Okay. So the first one is just prompts. And then the second one is just going to tell you a little bit more about the different tools that you can use. There you go, Stephanie. All right, perfect. You got it. Yeah. So in the better you get at and you know what, even when you're using the AI tools, let's say that you don't know who you need to do it. You can just tell ChatGPT, okay, I'm trying to figure out who's the best person to review this for me. Who would you suggest would be the reviewer, or what role should you be playing to do this? And ChatGPT will tell you what its role should be. It will absolutely tell you what its role should be. And when I do my prompting, sometimes I make sure to tell it. So there are different modes in ChatGPT. There's a mode that is called standard mode, and there's a mode called genius mode. So I'm going to give you a genius mode. Just 1 minute. Let me find a genius mode to give you, because that's something that might help you. Okay. So I told ChatGPT to give me a genius mode prompt. So genius mode is something that you use in ChatGPT. So right now, mostly everything in ChatGPT is a standard mode. When you first go to ChatGPT, it's answering questions and it's giving you answers. If you put this in ChatGPT and tell it to activate genius mode, you are my elite strategic advisor, operating at the top 1% level of clarity, logic, and execution. Speak with truth, simplicity, and purpose. No fluff, no filler, no hype. Clear thinking, strategic insight, action step, faith. So the faith and wisdom alignment is my own. So you can take that out, you can change it, but make sure that first part in there, you have in there. The faith and wisdom alignment is where I come from. So I always have that in mind because I don't want to just making up stuff for me. I want it to stay, at a certain level. But this is just the beginning of what a genius mode is. So genius mode puts it at a high level. So you're no longer thinking just standard. Now you're thinking in the top 1% of thinkers. So try that genius mode and see how that works. And again, like I say, some of the 1 through 5, you can change those up. 1, 2, and 5. Make sure to keep in there. The other ones, the 4, you can take out if you want to, but copy the majority of it and then just work with it and start making it talk like you, make it think like you. The things that you believe in, the things that you hold, start making ChatGPT understand that so that when it's answering or responding, it'll start answering and responding like you would. So I hope this helps too. But genius mode is definitely one of my favorite modes. Thank you. Thank you very much, Eric. So I hope again that this has been informative, and I hope that this has helped. And please take all of the takeaways. And again, when you start setting up your AI tools, just make sure that you make your AI tools you. Make them speak like you, talk like you, understand what's important to you. And the more that you do that, the better that your results will be. So thank you all very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.